We haven't spoken in a while, and in case you're wondering what's going on, so am I. These are very expensive ice racing studs, $500 to a box, and I threw the first box away, so that's 2 boxes there, so that's well over 1,500 studs, and I'm still not fully done. As you can tell, go fast, turn left. The outside of this tire is littered with studs, and I'm following the pattern from the pictures. Inside of this one, still some doubles, but nothing major. The front one, heavier on this side, and the left rear is heavier on this side with just singles there. And if you've ever seen a 250R commercial on these old Dunlops, the tires roll under about 4 inches, so it would make sense to have all the traction right here and keep the tires digging. Now the problem is they poke through, so I'm going to get in there with a little die grinder, grind the tips of the screws off, dump some rubber cement in there, hit it with a paintbrush, smear it around, and then I'm going to get bigger tubes, cut a slit in them, put these tubes inside those tubes like a flap, like a big rig tire, to give myself a little extra layer of rubber protection from puncture resistance. I'm not going to be out racing this thing, but I don't want to be pumping tires up all the time or have leaks that leak down real fast. So that's the tires. These are the wheels. I marked them like I said I was going to mark them. Put a right rear, left rear. I didn't mark the front one yet. And they turned out excellent with the welding and the bolt holes. So that all went good. I got to get in there and sand them, dress them up, clean them up before they go out for polishing and anodizing. NOS rear hub, there's the rubber cement paintbrush. Black paint for the silencer I got. That wasn't here last video. It is now. It was a WFO brand. Pulled it apart. I still got to get the fiberglass packing yet, but it has this bracket that'll probably work. I'll glass bead blast that, make that look pretty. I called in some favors, and I got, now it's funny, the parts microfiche for a 250R gives you that number for the clutch handle with a 429 center code. Well, we all know 81, 82, 250R is 961 center code. So, upon further inspection, a 250R takes the dual cable bracket, not the single cable bracket, because it has a parking brake. This is pre-production we're talking, and it doesn't have the parking brake because it has a hydraulic rear, and they hadn't had that aggressive coarse screw with the whole parking mechanism, and that's all for another day. So I asked my buddy who deals in such things if he had one. Turns out he had 2 of these and 3 front brake levers. So I, needless to say, I bought him out. He also had a clutch cable, which I need, 961, genuine Honda, made in Japan. So we already saw the bracket, and then this in the same. We went and looked up the 429, which I think is XL500 or XR500 or something. So all those parts go together, but this piece, which would be the cap, has that hole in, which I'm not really sold on. I don't like that. But this goes with this. In the same parts diagram this is listed, this 376 is also listed. So I got the bracket, I got the cap to clamp it, I got the shoulder bolt for the lever, and I got the lever. The only thing I need is the 2 screws that go in there, which I might have in a hardware bin somewhere. Gotta look, gotta check. So I'm gathering things up. Like I said, exhaust, paint, wheels, rubber cement, handlebar accessories, clutch cable, rear hub is going to have to be stripped and then chromed, and little extras for the NOS wall and the secret underground ATC layer, studs and the tires. So now we will go over the river and through the woods to the secret underground tricycle cache, and I'll explain where I'm at down here. I had the pipe going, everybody saw that, but I had to stop when I got to this area, and I was going to make a aluminum block, and it's very difficult to find a 3.5 by 3.5 by 3.5 aluminum cube. And I was going to machine a little relief in it and, you know, do this and drill holes and whatever. So talking to my steel shop guy, we kind of revised my idea on the fly, and I came up with this little number right here. It's upside down. Basically, foot peg's going to go in there like that. Obviously, this foot peg won't be here on the bottom, but I just did that so now when we weld the upright round stanchions to the flat plate, they won't pull and twist and act stupid. So basically, it's just an effort to maintain the bolt pattern here, the same down here, so they don't pull and move or do this when we weld. So that's going to sit in here. I was even thinking about taking my aluminum block and milling around and a little detent for it to sit in there and be real sturdy and strong. And this ain't that sturdy and strong, but it's going to sit something like that. And like I said, the lower foot peg here won't be there. The pipe will run under that and then back. So that will be how that works. And I did have to pull the front wheel back off because it's got to get anodized. And I was saying about making a slit in the pipe, and I did do that. So now I have flexibility this way and this way, so it can go in and out from the machine or up and down. And then once I get this locked in place, he's going to weld this for me Thursday. Have him put a couple tacks up in here on the top side in these areas. And then I'll pull the nuts off and actually just bolt it right to the threaded holes in the frame. And that will establish where I'm at. And then I can finish and continue the exhaust. This thing has to be looped up around. I'm looking at the pictures trying to see. I'm going to shorten the brake hose so it's just a nice curve, not that big L. Get this mounted where it belongs, get the brake line where it belongs, get the fenders on, and maybe slide the wheel on, or that wheel. That's a 3-lug 110 wheel. That'll also work for mock-up. So, and I got to cut this off, add the appropriate amount. Once the foot peg's established, once the exhaust is established, I'll whack it, add to it, bring it up where it needs to be. This was my little mock-up block. I drilled holes in it. Had the foot peg sitting there just to decide what I needed. And it just, looking at the old pictures, trying to decide where it was, it looked to be about 3/4 to an inch away from the kicker. It looked about midway there with the chain and sprocket. So it was just, you know, the picture could have been from here or back here. It's hard to tell how he was standing when he took the pictures. He was kind of this way. So it's just, you know, flying by the seat of your pants with the cable clamp and the screw and the clutch arm, all the shiny parts of the motor. The kicker was black, but the shaft and the bolt were kind of shiny. So it's like trying to find a reference point and just go with it. I can't sit here all day and decide if it's a 1/16 inch one way or the other. I just got to put something on and build around it because I'm not letting this consume my life. This thing's going to get done, and it's going to be as accurate as I can make it. So that's your update for now. I know we haven't spoken in a while, but not really much has progressed. It's just a bunch of small things on a lot of fronts. No real breakthroughs. But once I get that done, it's all hinging on this. Once this gets done and I can get the pipe moving, that silencer I showed you previous, I'm going to cut that, modify that, whatever I got to do, make that work, and then that'll stick out here over the axle. It will tie in here with that bracket. So that's where we are. I'll keep you updated. Keep an eye out for my community post and my shorts.